Before I started this review, there was this helicopter that was flying by and it just wouldn't go away. So, hopefully it'll go away long enough for me to complete this review. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and finally review Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon without a helicopter. Hey everybody, Bloodman Bobby here. So I am finally going to review Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. I've done trailer reactions of this film, and now I have seen this movie on Disney Plus. The movie is released both in theaters and on Disney streaming service. Although, if you want to watch it on Disney Plus, you're going to have to pay an extra $30 on top of your Disney Plus subscription. So, who is Raya and who is the Last Dragon, and what the heck is this movie about? Well, Raya is this princess from a nation called Heart, played by Kelly Marie Tran, and she is on this journey in order to pick up these pieces of this gem so that if she puts the pieces together, she can stop this plague running rampant all across the land. And most of all, she's doing this in order to save her father, who was petrified by this plague. But the thing is, she's going to have to go around and capture these pieces of the gem from these different nations. She can't just go up and ask them for it, because let's just say these nations have don't exactly trust each other. And along the way, the Last Dragon is this character named Sisu, played by Awkwafina, who's going to help put the gem pieces back together. And so along the way, Raya comes across all these other characters who become her companions, including this young ship captain / chef named Boone, a con baby, and a strong, if cowardly, fighter named Tong. Let's talk about the good stuff in Raya and the Last Dragon, because it is a pretty solid film put together. So the first thing, and probably one of the really big things that really any Disney movie should get down, is our characters. And they're all really great. The protagonist, antagonist, and the side character. I really got wrapped into the drama that Raya herself really gets into, in that she has to learn how to she has to learn trust in order to help rebuild this world, but it's in a really difficult environment, which I'll talk a bit about more in a second, because I think the main theme of this movie is really one of these strong points. And Sisu is a really great moral character. She gets some pretty funny lines in, as you would expect from Awkwafina, but I really liked how she has this really strong sense of trust and wanting to build a good friendship with all these nations in order to put them back together, because Sisu's dream is to get the nations to reunite into this one big nation called Kumandra, just like things used to be. But you also see that she learns that in the present day in this movie, people are very backstabbing and not very trusting of her. Like, there's a scene where she's trying to get a gift for one of the leaders of the nations, but we see that she gets flung outside and might have to deal with this plague, all because of this seemingly innocent character kind of tricked her. So yeah, so Sisu is also great. And basically the antagonist of this movie is this character named Numari, who is basically the princess of this other nation, who is surprisingly played by Gemma Chan. I didn't recognize her as Gemma Chan. She does a really good job playing this character. And and she really does a good job finding that balance of making Numari like a very intimidating character, the kind of character where I'm just like, oh no, shit's going down whenever she would come up. But at the same time, they do show her more respectful side. They show that she does have a strong respect for dragons, just like Raya. And we see in some ways the two characters have very, similar ideas, and that both would really like to see these nations get back together and for peace to be restored, but both of them essentially have to learn trust. And really, I think that's one of the strongest elements of the film. I really like how this movie teaches the lesson of trusting others in order to create a better world, especially since the movie creates this really makes these other nations seem really untrustworthy, especially from the first scene where we see Raya's father try to make relations all good and chill again, but when shit goes down, throughout this whole movie, part of me is just like, how the heck are you gonna restore peace in this world? They seem like really untrustworthy places, but of course the movie does, a really convincing job, and I really like how the characters come together here in the end in order to restore peace. I don't really think that's a spoiler, but it is worth watching to see the specifics. So I really like how the film teaches its lesson. I think it's really one of the strongest points next to the characters. So other aspects, the animation is pretty good. Some of my favorite aspects were I liked how they mixed in some scenes of traditional animation. I mean, the 3D CGI is really well done but I also kind of a pleasant surprise. I really like how some of the scenes were animated with some really good traditional style animation, like the scenes where I think when they were introducing some of the nations, they were introduced in a more traditional style. And there's another scene in the movie where Raya and her companions are coming up with a plan in order to get into one of the nations, and it's done through, and part of it is done through a traditional style. So I really like that. The action scenes are pretty good too, although the really good stuff comes toward the end of the film. But I guess, as the saying goes, good things comes to those who wait. So I think for the most part, Raya is a pretty solid movie. If I had to pick a fault with anything, I would say some of the dialogue sounds a little too modernized. I mean, I got used to it, and I'm sure you will too. It's not anything that, ruins the movie, but it can come off as pretty distracting at times, where there will be, like, especially like some of the more like lighthearted scenes, the characters talk in a more like sort of modern way. Like, one scene I could think of is when Raya meets Sisu for the first time. Sisu is talking about her involvement with creating the gem, and she describes it like, well, you know how when people are getting together in a group project and there's that one member who doesn't really carry all the weight, and she basically describes it in this way of this group project talk. And there's another scene in the beginning of the film when Nemari and Raya are friends and they're trying to get along, and Raya says that they're both Sisu super fans. Those kind of scenes where they kind of lean more towards more modern style dialogue can get a little distracting, because I think it would work best if the film used a bit more timeless dialogue. I mean, in modern style here and there, I think is fine. I mean, it's a great way to appeal to children, and it makes the film more fun, because the film does have its funny moments here and there, but the modern style dialogue at times can get a little distracting. Although I did get used to it, and when more dramatic scenes come up, or the more heavy scenes come up, it switches over to a more like sort of a timeless style, none of that sort of like modern talk of, group projects or that kind of stuff. But overall, I would say Raya and the Last Dragon is a really solid movie with great characters. I really like how the movie told its lesson, and I really like the film's use of animation. So overall, I would say it is a pretty good movie. I'm not quite sure if it's worth like an extra $30 on Disney Plus per se, because I even said in an earlier video I would only pay $30 if it was like something like super rare, like say the original 70mm print of a movie that came out years ago. So that's up to you to decide. I will say personally, I felt much better spending that money on this movie as opposed to that Mulan remake, which if you want to see the review, there's going to be a card up there if you're watching this on YouTube. But overall, I would say that Raya and the Last Dragon is a pretty solid movie. So let me know your thoughts down below. Have you seen Raya and the Last Dragon? Are you interested in the movie? What are your thoughts on it? If you've seen the film, leave all those thoughts down below in the comments. And until next time, this has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you all for watching. Hi everyone, thanks for watching this Blood Moon Bobby video. Like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel to see more of my videos, and ring the bell to be notified about my latest uploads. Don't forget to follow me on social media for my latest opinions and video updates. I hope to see you next time.